Nowadays, we all take railways for granted. But have you ever thought why they were started, or how long they've been running? Well, in 1800, in England and Wales, there were no railways at all. But they were already mining coal in the places marked by dark patches. And round the coal mines, manufacturing districts were growing up, which are marked here in white. The problem was how to carry coal and goods from these districts to the rest of England. The towns marked here had been the important ones in England up to 1800, but many of them, as you see, are not in the new industrial districts on the map. These towns were already joined up by roads which ran like this. These were the turnpike roads kept up by the turnpike companies. The companies put gates across the roads, and you had to pay to go through. This made getting about expensive and slow. The old important districts were also joined up by canals and rivers. You can see them here. On the canals and on the rivers too, you had to go through locks. Another very slow and expensive way of getting about. This is a map showing all the roads and canals. A great deal of transport was also done by sea. But many of the new industrial districts had neither roads nor canals by which their goods could reach the sea. These 3 coal fields, shown in the light circles, had practically no means of transport. Well, what was to be done? In 1825, in the county of Durham, the first railway was built between Darlington and Stockton. It was built to carry coal from the coal fields to the sea. After this, quite a lot of small railways were built, and they all ran from mining districts towards the coast. In the 3 mining areas of Durham, Lancashire, and the Moncton collieries, there were soon enough railway lines to make what you might call the beginnings of a railway system. In the year 1836, people began to put their money into the building of railways. With this money, the existing railways were lengthened and new ones were mapped out. Before 1843, £66 million had been invested in building railways in England. In 1 year, 1844, 7 millions were invested. In the next year, more than twice as much, £16 million. And the year after that, £38 million, more than twice as much again. In 1847 alone, £42 million went into railways. This period of 4 years, when all this money was put into building railways, we now call the time of the railway mania. And this money built all these railway lines. This is what the English railway map looked like in 1867. To begin with, there had been a great many separate railway companies. But by 1867, they had joined into 12 big companies. If you look them up in an old railway map, you'll see what their names were. As you see, each one served one special area. By this time, you're probably thinking what a muddle the whole thing was, as each railway could do what it liked on its own line. After 1867, one line, the Great Central, was added to until it reached London, and the other railways grew as well, but not very much. So many independent companies caused great inconvenience. For instance, the train belonging to one company would leave a station just before the train belonging to another company arrived. In 1921, to get rid of this muddle, an Act of Parliament ordered the railways to join together into the four systems as we know them today. The Southern Railway, the Great Western Railway, the London, Midland and Scottish Railway, and the London and North Eastern Railway. Here you see them in a simple form. Really, they make a network of railways which covers England today, and they make the transport of coal, manufactured goods and passengers easy and quick. This is the railway line from London to Liverpool. The old coach road ran beside it like this. A coach in 1800 going all out took 23 hours from London to Liverpool. The first long-distance train took 11.5 hours. Today it can be done in just over 3.5 hours. Let us take one more look at the railway map of England. It has grown in just over 100 years from this.